I've heard some people talk about it in the past or just on a podcast or whatever, but extreme ownership. And today I was talking to my buddy and I realized what my situation was. And yes, I could be making a lot more money. Yes, I could be a little bit better off, whatever that means, financially a little bit better off. But I made all the decisions that I made. Since I left high school, you are responsible. Your parents are no longer in the driver's seat. You were always in the driver's seat. You just didn't realize it because subconsciously you were so influenced by what your parents told you, and the life that you want to live, and what they sold you on. But at the very, very end of the day, you were always in the driver's seat. The second that you left your parents' crib, and I left my parents' crib, I came back, left my parents' crib again, over and over again. Probably happened, I don't know, a handful of times, even coming back for summer over the school years or what have you. And they had some influence over you. They definitely did. And I eventually learned to stay where I was in school. As far as the state, I eventually stayed there over the summers or what have you. But even that little bit of influence, even as far as, I don't know, I'll say 2 years that I was coming back for summer or what have you, and I was still trying to come back. And, you know, obviously you want to see your family and all that good stuff, but at the very end of the day, you have to make decisions that are best for you. Easier said than done. A lot easier said than done. And I made decisions, and I had a girl at one time, and she always told me, "Come back to Texas, come back to Texas." And I've touched on this point in the past a little bit. Come back to Texas, come back to Texas. I can, and it wasn't just her. That's what's crazy about it. It wasn't just her. I had other people. I had a lot of other people that told me, "Come back to Texas," even after my little stint of South Dakota. I didn't have my football scholarship forever. I didn't play football for the whole 4 years that I was in college. I did have a football scholarship initially that was paying for a lot of the school, and that's why I stayed there. But I realized after some research that if I had transferred, I was going to be there long. I was going to be in school longer. So I chose to stay where I was. The other factor that made my decision was I wasn't a big thrower at the end of the day. And I'll say mathematically, as far as statistics go, uh, and as well as physicality, just the attributes that I have, I wasn't a big guy. And I learned a long time ago that the D1 schools and just schools in general, that they take the big guys. They don't take the small guys like me. The D2, D3 schools do, because they could kind of see potential. This goes for football, basketball, any sport, honestly. This goes for a lot of sports. They, especially the SEC, and you think about big D1 schools, they want the biggest, fastest guys that they could find at the end of the day. And I was strong. I was really, really strong, and I was still pretty quick. I don't know if I could venture to say that I was fast. I was never a burner, but I was quick and I was fast. By the same token, I would have had to switch positions. I would have been fighting to be on a team, and uh, and as far as track, that's as far as football goes, right? As far as track goes, I probably would have had just as hard a time getting a scholarship, or I would have had a hard time getting a scholarship in general at one of those schools elsewhere. Yes, I would have had a problem finding a scholarship anywhere, just because of my size, and I hadn't put up the numbers yet. So I chose to stay where I was because I started to figure out what I loved, what to do. And even before I left high school, I kind of knew what I wanted to do, and I didn't want to do football anymore. I was kind of over it. It had left my system, if you will, and that was due to an injury, which is a completely another story. But it had to completely left my system, and I probably didn't receive a track scholarship for a long time because of the fact of the injury, and then also not proving what I was capable of for a long period of time. But there's a lot of other factors that go into that. But by the same token, I say all of this. I say all this because I picked my bed to lay in a long time ago, and I'm still choosing to lay. I'm still choosing to lay in that bed, and even though I have good days and bad days, I kind of like the bed that I chose to lay in. And that was the bed that I chose to lay in was to die on the hill. I want to train. I want to be on the team. I want to be a contributing factor, and I want to be a track athlete. And if I would have gone to D1 school, no matter what happens from here on out, no matter what happens from here on out, I really don't care. And it's taken me a long time not to care. But if I would have gone to somewhere else, would have had a hard time because of my size and the fact that I hadn't put up the numbers yet. Would have had to train just as hard and everything else, and I probably might still be where I'm at, trying, putting in the work, not see the reward, constantly frustrated, and trying to find the silver lining at the end of the tunnel and beating myself up, which I've grown from a lot of these points, but I would have been in a similar place for sure. Even if I would have came back to Texas. And it wasn't just that girl. There was a lot of people that were telling me that. And it takes a hard-headed ass nigga. It takes a really, really hard-headed ass nigga to realize that you're all right where you're at. Just figure it out. Just keep on going. Just keep pushing the process and find a way to get it done. And that's basically what I decided to do. And I picked that bed to lay in. I picked that bed to lay in a long time ago. And at the end of the day, that wasn't a bad bed to lay in. And I enjoyed it. And I'm still picking that bed to lay in because I still want to get better. I still want to grow athletically and physically. That's almost more important to me than any amount of money that I can make on a job, because I'm not going to be able to do this forever. I'm not going to be able to do this at a high level forever, and I'm choosing to capture the time that I have left, whether it's 10 years, whatever. I don't care, whether it's 5 years, whatever. I would rather do this than be trying to fight my way up the corporate ladder. And it's taken me a long time to realize that at the end of the day. I do want to make good money. I do want to be financially successful. I do want to accomplish certain goals financially. But by the same token, am I supposed to do that by the sacrifice of my young age and then me spending so much time at work that I won't be able to do anything that I really, really want to do? That's kind of the question that I asked myself yesterday after the interview. And the interview went good, but I kind of realized that at the end of the day, even if it worked out or it didn't work out, I'm still about to go throw. I'm still about to go Thraxin. And that brings me a certain amount of value more than money does. And I've played this back and forth game as well as, like, you care about money, but you care about this as well. And what do you, like, you're not willing to sacrifice the money for this, or I'm not willing to. I play that mental game with myself for a very, very long time. Like, I compare the job opportunity versus the opportunity that I have out here. At the end of the day, you don't have an opportunity out here forever. It's a lot, and once you make the connections, obviously, and once you get out there in the working world, it's a lot easier to move around, move up, move down, or move horizontal. I'll say move horizontally or laterally than it is to get strong still, and still want to get strong, and still want to get better, and still want to run faster miles or whatever. That leaves a lot of people at a certain point. They reach their peak, or they reach whatever. And the beautiful thing about me is that I never reached a peak. I just want to keep on fucking going. And that's where I'm at right now. That's the battle. That's the battle that I chose to pick. And you know what? At the end of the day, I'm looking back on it and I'm realizing where I'm at. And I realize that that is the bed that I chose to lay in. I chose to lay in this bed. Now it's just a matter of me sticking to it long enough. No matter how long it takes, because there's ups and there's downs with everything at the end of the day. And I chose to pick this battle, and I need to also choose to continue to fight this battle the hardest and the best that I can. No matter how much money's in my pocket, no matter how good I feel, no matter my financial success in other places, I chose to do what I'm doing. I really did. I chose this life. For good or bad. For good or bad. And it comes with good and bad. And I don't like using those words, but it comes with you sticking to the bigger picture that you have in your head. And that's not an easy thing. It's not easy at all. So I'm not giving up yet. I took some good throws today. It got dark. I worked all day. Legs felt not under me. And then the throws felt like I didn't have any pop on the ball. And I say pop because just as far as distance goes, just no. I mean, and that's what happens when you work a longer job. And that's why a lot of people give up, because they choose to stick to that job versus trying to figure out what they actually love to do. And maybe some people do try to figure that out, but I figured that out before I ever had a good paying job or anything like that. I figured that out a long time ago. So now it's just a matter of me pursuing it, figuring out how to do it effectively, efficiently, and, also keeping it moving. So, but alas, that's just all I got. You already know what the deal is. Run on your toes, keep your mouth closed, lock your nose, and save your throws. Most importantly, let it find another day. I'll be out of here.